RV owners. So yesterday we took a look at this beautiful setup. And you had this guy here that says, outside of the solar controller, how can I explain that this is far from basic? He doesn't think that this is complicated at all and it shouldn't have been removed. Now, outside of all the fire risks I found within that system and the very poor wire management, just lots of issues with that setup. It is very, very far from being a simple setup from an inverter. It's actually very far from what you'd find installed from the factory if that coach had an inverter from factory, which it didn't. Now, from factory, that's a very basic coach. What it has is it has a battery bank, which is charged by a converter, which goes to a power distribution panel. It has power coming into a transfer switch and then to the power distribution panel. All of that has been gutted and molested and routed back and forth between this inverter so that it can now charge the batteries and invert the power that's passing through it, if need be, from the batteries. You also now had 4 lithium batteries that need special care. That special care wasn't understood by this client, so those batteries are now toast. They're actually a fire risk now. Here's just a portion of all the cables. Every one of those cables has 2 points of connection, which is a point of potential failure. It's also a point of resistance and heat. I have an entire 5-gallon bucket of different breakers, shunts, controllers, interfaces, and all different types of things. All in total, there was about 50 different points of added complication in the system, or 50 different points of failure. Outside of that, there was a lot of loose connections, a lot of things very poorly done, and a lot of melted things. So instead of a simple setup, batteries, converter, power distribution, short cord, transfer switch, power distribution, you now have over 50 additional points of failure. Also, in that bird's nest of stuff, it makes it a lot more complicated for somebody who wants to do basic math to do it, because now we've stepped up to trigonometry. So maybe for you, somebody with electrical experience, it's not that difficult. I found my way around that system and no problem. In about 10 minutes, I knew where everything was and what it all did. But to the people who want to stick with basic math, that's far from the truth. Do I think solar, inverter, lithium setups are great? Yes, I install quite a few of them, but I make sure they go through a consultation first to make sure that 1, they need it and they're getting the appropriately sized system. 2, they understand it. And 3, they know how to maintain it. I went through all that criteria with this client, and it was determined that he had no use for any of this. He did, however, understand his basic battery, converter, power distribution setups. That's exactly what we did, got him back to factory. Which means now, if he has a question that he can't understand, he can actually refer to his wiring diagram. He can refer to the manufacturer, who can guide him because it's the original setup that was in the coach. And he doesn't have all these additional points of failure. The more things you add, the more things that could potentially fail, especially when they're installed incorrectly. So yes, despite what your opinion is on it, it's very far from basic, and it's not for everybody. Even when installed 100% correctly and done nicely with wire management and appropriately sized components, it's still just not for everybody. And the moral of the story, very far from basic.